Hey everybody, welcome back to our swing trade class. My name is Mike Fairborn. Hey, I hope you're all doing well. I want to take a little bit of time today just to introduce some of the real basics to ThinkScript. I mean, a really simple, straightforward script that can really be effective and helpful anytime you're looking for ideas and concepts in terms of swing trading, getting that shorter term time frame in there that you're looking for trades to the upside or to the downside. So I want to take a look at that today. I want to walk you through some steps and show you the capabilities right off of the Thinkorswim platform. I'm going to tie that together, and what we'll do is we'll create together, and you guys will be able to save this for you so you can run this each and every time you're looking for swing trades if you'd like. But I'll show you in real time how we're able to pull up some of those trades, and then what we'll do is we'll place some sample example trades on them. So I look forward to going through that process with you. Hopefully it'll be very informative and useful, and definitely a great way to tap into the Thinkorswim platform capabilities, specifically, folks, coding. Of course, you don't even have to know coding. We've got a great tool in there to help us along the way. And I've got a couple of additional little items to show you there. I haven't really gone through yet, even in my ThinkScript class. So just want to make sure you've got that. But all right, I look forward to going through that with you. And welcome to each of you. We've got actually with us in the chat, Connie Hill. So Connie Hill, great to have Connie on board here with us, folks. You can follow us both on X, Connie Hill CS, Mike Fairborn CS, and it is good to be on board with you, folks. Some interesting stocks out there too that are moving around some news events too. So I'm interested to tap into those with you. Let's jump into some disclosures real quick so we can get it going. Here, our class information here is for general information purposes only. Short options can be assigned at any time up to expiration regardless of the in-the-money amount. I'm not sure we're going to be looking at options. I just threw that in there just in case. Okay, and let's see. With that, I wanted to state that paper money software application is for educational purposes only. Now, investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. There's no guarantee that the execution of a stop order will be at or near the stop price. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, and dividends are not guaranteed. If we do take a look, and oftentimes we will take a look at dividend stocks. I might just pull one up just for fun to take a look at it as we go through this. And just lastly here, from time to time, well, what do we do? We do look at futures from time to time in this class. In fact, I'll pull one up today. But futures and futures options trading involves substantial risk, not suitable for all investors. We don't trade futures in this class, but we do look at the charts. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and just show everybody, because I think we might have some new folks here with us today, perhaps. Just a quick note, a bull flag is maybe one of those patterns that will get us into that swing trade time frame, roughly 3 to 15 days. It's just that sharp move, anticipated sharp move, coming out of a base. In this case, it is a bull flag. And of course, you can look at this on the downside too. One key note, and we're going to tap into this today for sure, as we apply just the basics of ThinkScript here. But the one thing we are going to put in place, and that's going to be the trend. We want to make sure that we have the trend up or down in place, and we want to use platform capabilities to help us in that regard. In this case, you can clearly see this is a bear flag coming down, if you're familiar with some of these price patterns right there. But yeah, a lot of times you get kind of a visual like this with the downward trend. You might be looking at that 3 to 15 day outcome to the downside. So as I mentioned earlier, upside and downside trades for sure, folks, we can look at. Now, zooming into the S&P 500, and I'm going to just go ahead and just jump into the 6-month chart here to show you. But this was quite a substantial bounce back that we had seen just recently, just over the past week or so, going into back last week, a good bounce off the bottom, testing support. We always like to look at the markets because it can give us a general feel, is it a risk on or a risk off? You might have heard that term before. Risk on meaning, hey, maybe we could take some trades or risk some, but it might be in the direction of the trend, in this case, an upward move for those people that are looking at bullish trades. Could be a resumption of a trend to the upside right there. Now, one thing we can do to help us gauge this is a simple moving average in terms of the trend itself. Let me just pull it up here real quick. A simple moving average right there. one that's commonly used, particularly on the markets over longer periods of time, might be something just like a 50-period moving average. Let's go ahead and make that nice and bold so we can see it here on our screen. But there you go. There's our 50 right there. And notice we are back up above the 50. Now, as we look at diving into some of the stocks, we're going to tap into this in a minute. We'll go into more detail. I want to hit a review of a couple trades from last week first. But when we're looking at stocks that might be potential swing trades, let's just say they are within the S&P 500, that rather large basket of some of them well-known names. Maybe we want to consider stocks that are also above the 50-period moving average as well. I mean, do we want to look at companies if we were on the bullish side? If stocks were like this, they were down here somewhere, and the market collectively was outpacing those companies. That might be in a weaker situation, right? So using a 50-period moving average can be a huge, huge advantage in being able to scan through and just within a second, literally like 1 second, be able to identify companies that are at least above that longer term trend and are at least on the side of the market. They're on, this side up here, not this side down here, below that. In other words, the trend might still be in some pretty good shape. So we're going to definitely dive into that with a basic ThinkScript, as I mentioned. All right. And by the way, welcome to all of you just joining us. Hope you're enjoying the weather in your neck of the woods. Yesterday for me, I woke up 16 degrees. It was pretty cold this morning too. I think it was 18, but I did do some bike riding out there. And yeah, takes a little while for the mouth to get working after that this time of year. I've got to switch my apparel a little bit quicker next time around. But all right, but good to see you all, folks. Let's take a look at some of our trades from last week. You recall that we did look at GEHC, and I'll go back out to a 1 year just to kind of show you what we were looking at. And remember, we will look at different kind of scenarios, different setups. This one was specifically a breakout above a range, and you can probably see that right there, right above this top. Yeah, anytime we can identify maybe a longer term, and there's a bit of a gap over here too. See that major gap down right there? I always go back, and oftentimes I will see like a gap there, and it is interesting because you'll spot resistance and support right there. In fact, very, very close to the support we got right there. Okay, we broke above this. That was the GE Healthcare. I believe this was the spinoff from GE that they had, maybe a faster growing division. And look at that. So what did we get? We broke above, and we went back down. We have our potential, stop order in place, and the stop, doesn't guarantee an exit at that price, but it does compete with other sales orders to get you out of that trade, other orders that are out there in the market to sell. And once it's triggered. But there you go. I wanted to just highlight that. But this right here, interesting, although we did take the trade on it, it did break up and it came back down and maybe is in a position for, what is it? The good old, we'll use it quite a bit here, hold pattern right there. Actually, it's actually almost like a little bit of a morning star too, if you look at the confluence of candles, and it's always nice. Folks, I'll tell you what, I'll never complain if we get a confluence of candles because you like to get a lot of candlesticks in there. The one I was referring to, though, is just this bar. If we can close above the high of the low day, that's what some traders will look at as a potential entry point. In that case, we might add another 100 shares in on this. And so what I'm going to do, because you guys know I like to do this, I like to take advantage of some of these capabilities here on the platform. Just right-click right there, and just let me know when we're trading above it. I'm right-clicking and then left-click, create an alert, and I'm just going to say breakout. And if so, what I can do is I can make sure to add to this position here for us on this trade. Now, one quick note, you got to go down below here and make sure that your notify is selected. And once it is selected, you're going to be good for being notified, not just the sound on the computer, but also through, let's say, a cell phone, for example. That's what I use. And by the way, just to set that up real quick, because I know we have some new folks here, but just go to setup up top, upper right-hand corner, click on application settings, and then you'll find it right under notifications. That will have you put in your email or your cell number. But you guys can see right there how that could be of interest to traders that are looking for the possibility of that short-term flag, and we're no strangers to that in this class, the short-term flag especially, that's broken above a prior range and maybe a faster growing division of GE that was, spun off, and we'll see how that growth goes, but that might be of interest. Quick note too, because it's just hard to pass this up. Look at this. Look at the volume right down here. I'm just pointing down here at the volume. Volume really, really dying right here, which is exactly what you want to see after such a strong move to the upside right there. Huge, huge move. Price-wise, I mean, that's 70-ish. I'll just say 70-ish to 80-ish. That's 10 points. And when it comes time to sell, we just don't have a lot of sellers. In other words, hey, people are getting on, and maybe they're on for a reason. They believe that there's just brighter prospects. I've left this on because we might get a sound by the end of our session today, and I'll go ahead and place another order here for the possibility of the T2 target, folks. Again, the T2 target, there's your initial leg of the bull flag. You pull back right there. If we do get a hold right here, and I'm just eyeballing it, but maybe somewhere close to 90. Remember we said over here, 70 to 80, 10 points. We just do another 10 point right there for a possible projection, or very close to it. Maybe 90-ish or so, or roughly close to 90. So that one still looks pretty interesting. Steady as she goes, right? All right. Is it possible to change the SL on the option chart? Maybe Connie can answer that one. I'm not exactly for certain. I'll just jump back on this and get rolling. Yeah, I don't know if we'll be hitting options today specifically, but hey, interesting question. All right, so here's Delta Airlines. I'm going to go ahead and put in Delta. This was the other one we looked at. And Delta too, and I should be checking these over here as we go through, but Delta, yeah, so just under $300 in terms of our paper money, just 100 shares. That was on, the initial move to the upside here, little breakout. But you can see even on that breakout, yeah, the breakout trade, yeah, roughly about 3 points above that on 100 shares. So that equates pretty well. But there you go. Steady as she goes right there. That's a very, very minor flag. We'll just kind of hold on to our position right now and stick with this. Now, one thing we can do for the possibility of getting out of this trade that could help us along the way is a short-term moving average. Planting that seed now, because we are going to tap into it by the end of our discussion. We'll definitely be looking at that 10 period. Okay, so here's the 10 period moving average. Notice how it's coming on up here. Traders will use this as a way to potentially exit if prices go down right here. Right now, it's looking quite strong, and we'll see how it does unfold. Actually, this might be the pole of the flag right there. Here's your consolidation, very long-term support, really good at 55. But if we're looking at this flag specifically, folks, 1, 2, almost 3, about 2.5. I'm just looking at, the bars here, 1, 2.5. So you're getting close to right there, the target being interesting, right there at previous highs. Maybe another reason to potentially sell. So the 10 period moving average could be a way to exit, but also if prices are running up, and a lot of traders are fond of saying, you never get broke taking a profit. I've heard that line before, but sometimes they'll try to just take a profit right as you are hitting that resistance, if that makes sense. Okay, so we'll put that in mind, keep that in mind as we go from there. Let's do this, just because we've got it here. I want to make sure we're very clear on this. If I take just a standard trend line, and let's just say that was the price projection from this high to this high, I'm going to just click this, activate it, right click, activate, pull it over here and point to that level. So I'm right about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another alert, right click, and just to notify me if I'm getting close to it, at or above exactly where I pointed to, which was 68.25. And I'll say exit like this, and I just put a question mark. That way I can look at it first and kind of determine, Okay, so I could be notified as well. Let's see. J Taylor says, would you set an order to take profits at previous highs or just an alert? Oh, so you could do either one. Yeah, that's right, JT. A lot of times in this class, what I'll look is here's the thing that can happen sometimes. You might get this really massive bar that breaks through very, very quick, and it might even be a little bit higher. So instead of taking profits um, or potential profits like right at that level, what you can do is get the alert and look at it and then decide to close it. So that's just a secondary approach to kind of consider there. But I do like your point. Yeah, because a lot of times if you can't be there, uh, just, you know, exiting that trade could be a way to do it. Just putting a an order up top to close that out, to potentially try to get out at that level, right? Once it gets triggered. Okay, good. Yeah, that's one way. Maybe we can start doing, more of that for sure, going forward. But yeah, good question. All right, well, let's continue. Notice both of these trades, by the way, were above the 50-period moving average. So we're going to be using that as a trend, and our discussion today is really going to be twofold. We're going to build that together. We're going to build a basic think script that can be very simple, but yet very powerful in identifying timely type swing trades that are not only have the longer term trend, but the longer term trend is up, and then the shorter term trend just gave us a signal that it's also up. And we're using some moving averages with that. I'm going to show you guys how to save this so you can keep it as part of your platform too. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go over into the scan tab, and we will start off with that 50-period moving average, okay? I did actually build it over here, and I'm going to show it to you so you can see it. I build it in what's referred to as the condition wizard within ThinkScript, but let me show you how you get here first. Very, very important. You have to be in the scan tab. You've also got to be in the stock hacker. There's more than just one selection here under the stock hacker. You got to be sub-tab stock hacker right there. That's the default, but just make sure you're there. Otherwise, it can be very confusing. Next up, what you want to do is go right over here into that add filter. We click on the add filter. I'll go through the process as I've already got this built, but let me show you how it works. So you go to the add filter. You'd next want to select study. It's a study filter. It's using code on the platform. This line will pop up. Okay, this is just the default. This is an ADX crossover. We're not going to use it. The next thing you're going to want to do is go right over here and click on that pin so you can make an adjustment to that existing script. I'm going to pull it up right now. There it is. Okay, and the first thing we want to do is we've got to get rid of this. So let's go over here to the right and delete it. Okay, now down below here, you'll see that we've got the add condition, and we are in the condition wizard. Now, in the ThinkScript class that I teach on Thursdays, we'll do just coding. We can do that over here in the editor, but a great way to get the code built or even to learn coding is just to utilize this condition wizard. And it's as simple as this, folks. All you want to do is come down here and click on add condition. Okay, I'm going to go through the steps so you can see this. What I've created here, and it's really so easy. Step one, click down here. All I'm going to say is exactly this. Prices are greater than closing prices, current closing prices are greater than the 50-period moving average. So this is your action, right? You've got to click on the action section right here, go over here to the right, scoot on down, and then click right on study, because it is a study. The moving average is a study. You've got so many here. Believe me, we get more all the time. But the one we're after is a simple yet powerful one that could be used just for trends, and that's the simple moving average. And all I'm saying is that price is greater than, here it is, the length of the 50-period moving average. That's it. I click on save. And if it likes the code, and it does under the condition wizard, it's built to like the code, the OK button will light up. If it doesn't like the code, it'll tell you down here it doesn't in red, and it won't allow you to click OK. So you literally can't click OK. Now, if I click OK here, what this is going to do is it's simply going to scan. Let me take this guy off real quick. This is the one I built, but we're just going to add to this existing one. It's simply going to scan all companies in the NASDAQ that are above that 500-day, the 50-day moving average. But remember the first one we looked at? Let's do the 500 instead. So getting back to why this would be important to use. How many companies do we have above this? Is it going to work for me? Oh, please. It was working so well before. I think it might be, oh, well, let's see if it pops up. But folks, it will pop up. And let me tell you how many it showed. Don't know why it's doing this, but it showed 248 companies that were above the 50-period moving average. And that was important because as we were looking at this, remember what we said? If we're looking for stocks that have more of a likelihood of going higher, do you think they're above the 50 or below the 50? They're probably at least as strong as the market. S&P 500 being our market because we're looking in the S&P 500. So those were above the 50. I'm going to do a shorter term one because right now it seems to be struggling pretty good. All right, it likes the 50. Wait, yeah, it likes the NASDAQ a lot better. Notice here you're getting about half. It's fascinating. About half are above and half are below. You get about 53 out of the 100 NASDAQ stocks that are there. But that's just one portion of it. So if I choose any one of these, here's EA right there. EA. Are we getting the longer term trend in our favor? In other words, could the longer term trend be higher based upon what that moving average is telling us? Oh, sorry, that's right. These guys are getting bought out. It was above it, but that's not a great looking example. How about IDXX? Yes. We're above that moving average, and look where we're at right now. This probably qualifies for, there's your 50-period moving average. I've actually got the 10 in here. That's going to be next on our list. But we're above the 10 and above the 50. And what are you guys saying on the chart? This is just on the fly. What are you seeing? Can you guys see the trend there? First of all, the trend, right? Left side lower than the right side. In other words, you got this massive, you can really see it pretty clearly, higher highs and higher lows. That's the 50 for us. That's where the 50 helps us. It's getting above it right there, right? Now short term. Higher highs, higher lows. Long term, short term. We haven't added this in yet to our coding, but it's got it. And what is that? It's above the 10-period moving average, or at least crossing above the 10-period moving average. Okay? Right there. That's going to show up. So here you go. Higher high, higher low. There's your flag. And sometimes, you see the longer term trend have a number of these breakout. Obviously, that was earnings related, but hey, we are past earnings, and it seems to be favorable earnings for this company too. Just put a big check in these. And by the way, there's another one here and another one here. So earnings seem to be being reflected positively by the market. You can always dive into that just by clicking on that, but just a quick note. All right, so that's one. I haven't even added in the 10 yet. Okay, so let's go back to our script over here. Guys, I just got to check and see, because I did want to go to the 500 to see as well, but oh, that's crazy. Okay, it's just too much. It's too much to ask for right now. Normally, I have it like in a second, like this. Okay, we're going to stick with the NASDAQ because it's working. But let's dive back into this script because we've got the long term, but it's not going to be a swing trade. Think about the time frame of the swing trade. 3 to 15 days. We want it to be breaking above that 10 period. Now, I'm going to come down here and make this just very deliberate and straightforward. I'm just going to add another condition in here. We're going to do the exact same thing, but with the 10 period. All right, so price, closing price, and that would be closing price today is, let's use this for now. I can use the greater than and pull up that IDXX and others, but if it's crossing above, that's a different action. That means, that implies that we went below and now we're going back up above. So in other words, this this moving average that we're going to put in right here, what we're really telling the computer is, through code, is we're saying that prices went below this level, and then they went back up above. In other words, there's a reversal that has occurred here, and you're getting that. You got to make sure you get that here. You can do greater than as well. And we can have a third condition saying not only is it great, it could be greater than, crossed above. There could be multiple conditions. But for now, let's just do crosses above. This is going to be a smaller list of companies for sure, but let me show you. So we're right back to our simple here. Simple moving average, right? Because it was under a study right there. It's just a study. That's where the indicators are, is under studies. Length, there's our 10. Some might use a 9, some might use a 10. I'm going to say within the last 3 days, we crossed above that level. I'm going to save it, and we're going to hit it again. It's done. We've added to it, and that's the total one. This is all of it right there. So a very basic, but potentially powerful method for getting long-term, short-term trends in check anytime you want to find that swing trade trend. Let's go ahead and scan right now. It's going to take a little bit longer. Oh, yeah, we reduced that quite a bit. Let's go through now. As we've got those two in place, I want to take a look and see what stocks we can look at today for potential swing trades. Oh, and by the way, Connie did mention in the chat, thank you, Connie, there is a survey in there, folks. If you get a chance to fill that out, that'd be fantastic. You know, if you're finding this useful, whatever the case might be, there's just 2 survey questions and a comment to any topic requests. I love those as well. I've utilized those definitely in the past. My manager and I do read those, yeah. So it's quick, it's easy. If you're able to do that, that'd be great. By the way, folks, yeah, if you are getting value from the presentation, just smash that like button. It lets me know that, hey, you're getting some use out of this. It's something you could find helpful, specifically for swing trades. Be sure to subscribe to our channel as well. And as I mentioned previously, yeah, Connie and I have an X handle, Connie Hill CS. Here's mine, Mike Fairborn CS. I just noticed one of these popped up on the list. I was going to double check it. Oh, CrowdStrike. Yeah, see, it does have earnings. I'll post these earnings events on here for you guys as well. But that is, just wanted to double check that. All right. That's the link to Twitter. If you're interested, Connie Hill would just be Connie Hill CS. Find the same thing right there. And by the way, folks, this is the swing trade class. But yeah, love to have you subscribe to our channel here, Trader Talks. And you get a bunch of stuff within there. There's Connie, advanced option strategies, fantastic stuff. Be mindful of that. She's got other classes as well to take a look at here. All right. I was just looking at one of Connie's classes from last year. I think it's got like 20,000 views or something. Pretty phenomenal. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to pull this up right now and take a look at what we got. And remember again, folks, we can use something like this when we're trying to think of ideas and what's happening out there for swing trades, that shorter term move where there might be a lot of strength behind it. Let's go ahead and take a look at Shopify here. So here is Shop coming up on our list. We've got a few in there, names you probably heard of. I wanted to have a bigger list, but I can't pull up the 500 right now, but here you go. There's Shopify. Okay. Interesting on Shopify. Where is Shopify? Past earnings right now. And this is interesting too, because it not only crossed above the 10 period, but it's also above the 50 as well today. And sometimes above the 50, again, remember that can be the resumption of the longer term trend. Why am I using the 50? Well, first of all, these are companies that were above the 50, like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. Right? We've only got half of them in there. And the second thing is it can tend to be an interesting level for support. If you come back down below here, resistance. But do you guys see any patterns in here? This is very much a pattern-based class. We talk about a lot of price patterns in this class. I'm going to go into the chat and just see if anybody's seeing it here. Yeah, Chris saying possible bear flag. Yeah, after a long move like this, it's not unusual, and you see this in the market too, to get maybe a 5 to 8% pullback. Maybe this is a little bit more. Stocks can be a little bit more, especially these kind of stocks. But okay, there we go. Love it. I love to see you guys, hitting these things and getting it. Yes. So cup and handle, inverse head and shoulder. Exactly. I mean, that's what I was saying too. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Sometimes these do have a little bit of an image of a cup and handle as well, just like this. Just like that. Little bit of little small cup, but you can see it right there. It is a cup, potentially nonetheless. And this would, again, folks, would be shoulder, head, shoulder. Let me do that a little bit more justice just by going in a little bit more so you can see it. I zoomed out. There you go. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Again, one thing we love about, swing trades too are these shorter term price patterns with the trend. This one's coming out right now, but as you can see, they do have potential price projections too. And that price projection could look like this. Normally on those inverted head and shoulders patterns, or head and shoulders patterns in general, excuse me, yeah, inverted head and shoulders patterns, this move right there, that distance is oftentimes the distance that we'll use to the upside. And let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's use the Thinkorswim drawing tool specifically to help us out. So off the bottom there to the top. So either that, you can use the cup and handle very similarly. Same way, I'm going to right click, activate, and pull this guy up to that level. And that's generally where the price projection's at. And it's very, very close to the prior high over here as well. But folks, that mirrors and matches what that swing trade time frame is that we're looking for. That 3 to 15 day kind of a rally up here. It might take less, and maybe it's more like a 10 or so, 8 to 10 days if it were to follow through like this. But that is the purpose of that script, is to find these kind of scenarios. So let's do this too. And I thought there was news on here. I'm going to go ahead and click over right on the right-hand side. Sometimes the retailers do really well. The year-end rally. We don't know if we'll get the year-end rally, right? They refer to it as the Santa Claus rally, but sometimes retailers, whatever the case might be, they can run and they might have setups. And this is kind of interesting because you're getting this at first part of December, the possibility of a bounce that was pulled up through that script. So I'm not just saying this class is, we're not recommending any stock or this particular stock. We're not recommending it, but we're just saying whatever you're looking for, sometimes retail can rally to the end of the year. It doesn't have to, but look over here with me. Let's see. Shopify merchants posts 14.6 billion in sales over the holiday weekend. So it was probably a decent weekend, and maybe that's where you're getting some of that interest right there. Holding right at the 10-day moving average. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and, it's a bit of, you have to say, it's kind of like a flag pattern here too. Because that's part of the inverted head and shoulder. It's part of the cup and handle. You're getting this portion of it. Okay. And either of those two, cup and handle, inverted head and shoulders pattern, you're really going to be getting that higher low. To get that pattern is a higher low. And today, it's higher than this. And today could be construed as the confirmation day, although it's not a hold yet. We're getting close to maybe getting a close above the high of the low day right here, like this being close above the high of the low day, which is another potential move to the upside. All right, I'm sorry, excuse me. It's another indication that traders might look for when they're in anticipation of a move. They're just looking for a confirmed day. In other words, are they seeing the first signs maybe that prices might be bouncing and ready to go higher? Yeah, maybe that is the hold could be part of what they're looking at in their own toolbox, right? Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to go over here and let's look at a potential exit. This is going to be kind of tight though. If we did it below the 10 period moving average, if we wanted to look at the 10, and we could do a target up here. So we could just do a buy custom order with an exit up top here too, very close to this range. So that's about a 185-ish for the target to the upside, and down below, I'll just say below 150, so 149 and change, giving us a little bit of room. Some traders, by the way, might say, sorry, there we go, might say just below this low, the prior low, is a possible exit level. Okay, so let's go to our trade tab. We'll just do 100 shares on this. Be mindful, it's it's $150 stock. Might not necessarily be cheap. We could always do 50 shares if we wanted to on this too. In fact, shoot, I'll just do 50. All right, here's the OCO bracket order right there. One cancels the other is what that refers to. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my position. I'm going to link this up so that I clicked on the little link button. I'll go to 50, tab through. So we can start off with 50 and we can always add to this if we get a hold or it breaks the recent high. Okay, let's go over here to the right. And I said the upper target could be like 185-ish. I'll just leave that there for now. And down below, I think I said 149 or change, 149.50. We'll just put it below here. Now, when you set this up, notice the potential risk, potential reward scenario. If I'm buying here in green, we try to get it so that prices, if we're right on the target, I didn't mean to swerve that. If we're right on the target, there's a potential higher price range for our target than there is for our potential exit down below, right? We're using air as an example. And this would be to the downside, right? It's supposed to be a dollar sign there. Okay, I'm sliding all over on my mouse. Oh, there we go. Okay, so notice that the blue arrow is bigger than the red arrow, and basically it comes down to potential risk, potential reward. That's where price patterns can be so helpful. You can try to utilize a smaller amount of potential downside relative to the upside is all we're really looking at there. Okay, so you're seeing that here. Next thing is I want to make sure that these are good till cancel orders so they don't fall off on us immediately. In fact, I'm just going to put this in as a market order just to get it going here. Just because we're running out of time, I want to make sure we get this under our belt. And there we go. So if we come over here and look at it, we can see that we've got our potential target up top. I left that a little bit below here, but tapping in to the projected price target for our price pattern, coming up to that high. And by the way, some people might just, if they were doing this paper trade, they might just narrow it down to here, for example. I'm just going to take that off for now, but very close to that projection range. And this is, by the way, a lot easier to see that potential risk versus potential reward up here. Bigger, right? Bigger versus this. So they like to see that. Now, this hold in this little pattern right here, you guys might be interested in this. I'm not sure. I'm going to show you this just in case you are. I did work on a ThinkScript and built one that could be helpful if you're interested. In fact, it's right there. I just created this new code. It says new code flag plus Cahold in one. If that's of interest to you, I'll just click on this playlist, and it was just the one we did right here. So I'll right click on this, copy this address. I'll put it in the chat. If you find that interesting, Cahold being closed above the high of the low day, this stock might very well come up on it as well, but you just get different ones that come up at different times. Click on, let me know if that works or not. Sometimes those don't work, but anyhow, it might work, it might not. Anyways, it's under the ThinkScript group. All right, that's our first one. What else did we have? There was one over here, on the S&P 500 that I couldn't get to pull up. Allegiant Travel as well had an interesting one. Now, I ran this a little bit ago as I was prepping for this class, looking back previously. Yes, I'll share that scan. Oh, thank you, Michael, confirming that it worked. So that link is working. All right. And by the way, this would be something that also could fit. You see the Cahold right there, closing above the high of the low day. So the Cahold simply, folks, is just the flag pattern developing. But right here, you're starting to close above the high of the low day. And so it's that transition. And we're kind of seeing that right here as well with this breakout too. Some lighter volume as prices are consolidating. Let me pull this back out for everybody to kind of see it. Big picture. There were some others in there too. Real quick, we might just do one of this before we're done, but let me see. CRWD. I noticed this popped up. It was also an earnings. Oh, wait, yeah. Oh, it's after hours. Okay, well, wait and see what wait and see what happens here on this guy. But that's your everybody see that? Yeah, it's kind of a potential flag right there, flag pattern. Ooh, yeah, so just above the 50 today and the 10. So that's another one, kind of similar to a Shopify in a sense that, only in the sense that it's getting above both of them today, though. Yeah, and they're both in the NASDAQ 100. But yeah, we'll have to see how earnings pan out. I didn't realize it was like right on there. And I think Cisco was another one. Cisco came up on our NASDAQ list. Okay. Kind of a sideways range above, closing above the 10, crossing above in the last few days right there. So, just some to consider, but that is the usefulness of the ThinkScript. So let me just quickly put a trade on here. I'll go ahead and adjust this for later, but let's just go ahead and add this into our list. And always be mindful when you're putting this in, folks. Make sure that everything matches correctly on the confirmation dialog box before you put it in, even on paper trades here. I'll go ahead and submit this through. I'll work out the stop. Just in the interest of time, we're kind of running low. I wanted to share that script with everybody so you guys had it. But yeah, at least wanted to put the trade on so you could see it. But this is one that might be, actually, look at this. This might be a long-term, like, possible bottom pattern. Like maybe sometimes you get these really big cup and handles. You guys take a look at this and see what you think on it. But I'm going to kind of put an alert up here just so I can keep tabs on it up top here around this range. If it were to flag higher and flag again, kind of like this is what I'm kind of proposing, is like if it did like a flag like that, just a standard flag pattern somewhere around 90-ish, but you can see 100 range is where that prior high is. Okay, back to that script. Let's go to it real quick. Here is that script. And by the way, yeah, if you need to, you can go back through and just kind of slow the recording down and kind of take a look at it as well. But hang on a second. Click OK. And then I was just going to share this one. I'm used to sharing the other one. I can't remember the last time I shared a condition wizard type script. Save scan query right there. Oh, share, right? I think this is just it. Yeah. This is the guy right there. It's in the same spot, basically. Okay. So I just want to let everybody know that ThinkScripts are not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. Keep that parked in the back of your mind. As long as the data that's flowing through the platform is good, it should work. I mean, it's designed to work that way. But let me just post this in. But just a quick note. Yeah. And Connie had put that in the chat. I appreciate that, Connie, very much. Scripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness accuracy. Here it is. This is the script we built today. All right. The swing, call it the swing script. Okay. Posted that in. And a quick note to pull that up, go to Setup, Open Shared Items, copy that URL in like this, hit Preview, import, and then you'll find it under your scan tabs right there under Load. You'll find it there, okay? Load in that middle hamburger icon. All right, everybody. Well, it's been great being with you. There is that survey link in the chat. Hope this is very informative. Smash that like button. Great to have you all on board, folks. I look forward to this class each and every week. And thank you so much, Connie, for being so helpful. Be sure to check out Connie's classes. Absolutely, Robert, Eric, and all. Take care, everybody. See you, Chris. See you next time, all.